And we're live, everybody. Welcome in. It is November 1st. Happy November, everybody. 1st of November. It's officially, for those that follow Tesla, the EV world, the auto world closely, it's Cybertruck month. Officially, Cybertruck season has begun. A lot to talk about today. Elon Musk was on the Joe Rogan Experience yesterday. Joe Rogan is the world's largest podcaster. I think he gets something like millions of views per episode. And yesterday they did a little demo. I did a little demo on the Cybertruck, but Elon also gave us a little bit of information around the Cybertruck and what to expect, and teased the November 30th release, the delivery date for the truck as well. So in case you missed it, which I highly doubt, because this thing's freaking everywhere on the internet, here's Joe Rogan shooting the Cybertruck with an 80-pound bow. And the bow just bounces off, no problem. He walks up to the bow shattered, leaves a little bit of a dent in the Cybertruck. And this thing was all over the internet yesterday and this morning as well. There's actually some interesting stats. Here's a little bit of the arrow there in case you missed it for some reason. It shattered the head as well. And yeah, it was a hilarious display of what the truck can do. And then here's Joe Rogan with a wig as well. He went as himself for freaking Halloween, which was pretty epic. Right after the podcast happened, if we look at some of the data, the interest around Cybertruck, this is on Google Trends for the last 7 days. You can see that after the podcast air, there was a pretty dramatic increase in interest for the Cybertruck. It peaked sometime yesterday, and it has been on a slight downtrend, but it seems to be keeping up significantly above the levels before that podcast aired. If we look at some of the trends, we can see that California, Utah, Nevada, Washington, and Texas are the ones driving most of the attention when it comes to the episode from yesterday. And some of the related queries: Cybertruck Arrow, Joe Rogan shoots Cybertruck Beast Mode, which is one of the things that we learned from the podcast as well. Arrow was one of the related topics. And then Jim Farley, which on the podcast, in case you didn't know, Jim Farley is actually related to one of the great actors that passed away recently. So yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. I do want to also talk about some of the other stuff that's happening with Cybertruck as well. Earlier today, the investor head of Tesla said that the Cybertruck Event sign up, they have a lottery for people that are invested in the company. If they have stock, they can sign up for Tesla events. It has the highest attendee lottery sign up rate ever, which makes it the most popular event that Tesla owners and investors are looking to go to in history. I'm not surprised based on the amount of attention that we're getting from that podcast from yesterday. But there's also some very specific details that Elon Musk kind of got us up to speed on as it relates to the Cybertruck. So the two major ones that I took away, and I'd love to hear in the comment section below what you took away from that podcast as well. So number one, the heaviest configuration of the Cybertruck is going to weigh somewhere around 7,000 pounds, which gives us some clues on how to think about Cybertruck versus its competitors and where it's likely to end up from a price perspective. I think we get some additional data. We did an exercise earlier on this channel a few weeks ago on how to arrive to that price, and that 7,000 pound number aligns exactly where we thought it was going to come in. And then the other one is that the top spec is going to be called the Beast Mode spec, which my assumption is going to be the one with the most battery range, the most capability from a powertrain perspective, so probably the tri-motor setup, and combined with that 7,000 pound weight, it gives us an idea of how much it's going to be able to carry on a payload perspective, and also from a trailer, if it was pulling a trailer. Now, if you remember, if you've been following this channel, you know that we got this VIN Decoder from the Department of Transportation, which tells us how much the Cybertruck is going to be able to pull all in from a gross vehicle weight rating perspective, which does not include the trailer weight. It's just how much the Cybertruck weighs and how much additional stuff you put on the Cybertruck it can carry up to. So if it has a 9,000, let's say, a 9,000 pounds or a 10,000 pound limit on the gross vehicle weight rating, and the vehicle weighs 7,000 pounds, it means it can tow, or it can have a maximum payload of about 3,000 pounds on the bed and anything that's in the truck as well. So now that we have that 7,000 pound number from a curb weight perspective, if we plug it into our master spreadsheet for all the different trucks that we have, you can kind of see now that with that 10,000 gross vehicle weight rating in mind, the payload capacity for the truck is going to be somewhere most likely around 3,000 pounds, which is slightly less than what Tesla showed us back when they unveiled the Cybertruck back in 2019, when they had 3,500 for all specs. I'm not saying 3,500 is not going to be there for all the specs, but it's likely that one of the specs is going to be somewhere around 3,000 pounds. And we don't quite have information on the dual motor spec yet for the Cybertruck, but one can assume it's probably going to be about 1,000 pounds less for the curb weight, and the payload capacity is going to be around the same, around that 3,000 to 3,500 pound mark. We also have some additional trucks here that I've compare the Cybertruck to, in case you want to sit down and pause this part of the video if you're viewing this in recording. I've also put this next to a Rivian R1T dual motor performance, a Ford F-150 Lightning, a Pro, which is the lowest model, the Lariat Extended, which is one of the higher trims for the truck, and I've also put it next to the XL Super Crew and the XL Crew Cab from Ford as well. This is just a gas equivalent truck from Ford with the starting prices as well. I think based on all this information, I really do feel like I'm very confident. I'm very confident that the Cybertruck is going to come in under $80,000. Even the upper spec models. I know there was a rumor out there that the truck was going to come in somewhere around $99,000. I don't think that document is legit. I just think it's a rumor out there that somebody put out there. I do think the upper trim models will come in under $80,000. I could be wrong, but I think if you compare this to the rest of the trucks out there that it's competing against, that $79,900 is likely. If we compare the Tesla pricing versus competitor pricing, usually they're coming in lower priced and with better range. So now the only thing we're waiting for is the range and really the price for the truck, which we'll get, I think, for sure on November 30th. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing to track moving forward. So again, here's a little handy dandy chart in case you're interested to see how the Cybertruck compares to the other trucks. And then there was another video that was released today from Joe Tegmeyer. Joe Tegmeyer, for those that are not familiar, he flies a drone basically every day over Giga, Texas. And we got some footage of the Cybertruck doing some crab walking as well. So here's the Cybertruck. The video's a little bit sped up, but you can see there that the Cybertruck is doing a crab walk. And then you'll see it go around this cone. And then it will do the same exact thing on the way back as well. So let me fast forward a little bit so we can look at it together. So here's it doing a little U-ey. And then here it comes back down, and you'll see that it's going to be doing another crab walk on the way down. So this is potentially one of the features that they'll show on the delivery day. On the podcast, Elon said that there's 3 main things that they're looking to show, capabilities or features that the truck's going to have. The first one is going to be it being shot up by a Tommy gun, a 45 cal Tommy gun, which was that one picture that we had from before with the Cybertruck all shot up. So they'll show that. And then the other 2, he didn't really say what they're going to be, but my guess is another one is going to be something akin to this, the crab walking, maybe the suspension performance, some footage from them going on the Baja Trail, which they showed previously. So that could be another thing that they show. And then perhaps the other one is towing capability. Maybe they'll pull an F-250, maybe they'll pull an F-250 or an F-150 or something, just to show how much power and range the truck has under load. So that's what I expect. I could be wrong, but I think that's where they're going to head towards. They will show things that the truck can do that no other truck can, especially if you're shooting it, right? So what are the things that other trucks can't do? Some trucks can do crab walking, but you have to spend a ton of money to get access to that type of feature. So we'll see. Maybe the Cybertruck will come in at, say, under 80, maybe closer to 70, and they'll have all these features that these more expensive trucks have. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens there. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. We'll go through some comments today. And then last but not least, which also applies to the Cybertruck in my opinion, is that we have some additional rules, some updated news on the tax credit for next year, the EV tax credit for next year, which Sawyer Merritt on X is sharing here for us. Thank you, Sawyer. The U.S. Department of Treasury and the IRS today began allowing car dealers to register for the IRS Energy Credits online portal. This is for the EV point of sale rebate, which starts in January 1st, 2024, where consumers will be able to transfer their new clean vehicle credit of up to $7,500. In case you're not familiar with that thing, what that basically is right now in 2023, at the end of the year, if you buy an EV that qualifies and your gross income also qualifies, you can get up to $7,500 credit on your taxes, but you have to wait until the end of the year to file. Starting in 2024, as long as you do qualify for the income requirements, you can transfer that credit up front to the car dealer, which then the car dealer can take and bring down your upfront cost of the EV at point of sale by up to $7,500. So instead of paying a higher monthly payment and then getting the credit at the end of the year, you'll be able to essentially take the credit up front, and then your monthly payment comes down right from the point of sale, which for an expensive truck like the Cybertruck, even for the Model 3 and the Model Y, this is going to be very helpful for people to lower their monthly payments. And this is obviously going to impact the Cybertruck as well, because we expect it to be it will fully be able to take advantage of the $7,500 tax credit. So a lot of Cybertruck stuff going on. It's finally November. For those that haven't followed the story closely, we know that this is a long time in the making, and we're finally there. Thank goodness. All right, let's do some comments here for those that are live. If you're joining us in recording, thank you so much. If you're enjoying the content so far, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And if we're in the comment section right now live, just put question before your question so it's easy for me to bring up, and we'll do a little bit of Q&A. Let's go ahead and start. Alex, do any reservation holders balk at the Cybertruck price and buy Rivian or Lightning instead? Interesting question. So this is sort of in context of Tesla releasing the pricing back 4 years ago, saying that it would start around $39,000, but then Elon at a later date said that it's going to be more expensive. We don't know by how much yet, but if we look at how the rest of the Tesla lineup is behaving, they've been trying to lower price quite aggressively for the rest of the lineup. So I would imagine that the pricing for the Cybertruck, it's probably going to be very competitive versus versus all the other trucks that it's going up against. So I think if we follow the trends for the 3 and the Y as an example, I think the Cybertruck will be cheaper versus, say, a Rivian or F-150 Lightning versus what you get. It will be more expensive than the $39,000 starting price for sure, but I think it will be cheaper than the competition. We'll find out by how much very, very soon. We'll see what happens. Next year, you can charge your F-150 Lightning at a majority of Tesla chargers. If it's cheaper than a Cybertruck, they sell lots of F-150 Lightnings. That's a great point, Tom. So starting next year in 2024, basically every automaker, now including Subaru, which just announced today that they're going to be on the Tesla charging standard, moving forward, the NACS, the North American Charging Standard. If you own an F-150 Lightning, you'll be able to use the Tesla Supercharger network. Now, I do think that should incentivize people to buy more EVs in general, but I think that the key thing here is going to be, how does the feature set for a Cybertruck compare to, say, an F-150 Lightning or a Rivian R1T or a Hummer EV or even a F-150? I think folks are going to be more interested in how much bang for their buck they can get on each truck. And that's going to really impact people's buying decisions more than, say, having access to the Tesla Supercharger network, even though that's very, very important. We know that cost is number one, the number one thing people look for, and then charging is basically number two. So those two things in tandem are very important. But if you don't win in number one, people are not going to look at number two. So you have to win from a cost perspective. And that's where I think Tesla has quite a big advantage. I've never seen Farzi this excited. Even his voice is shaking. Maybe. Is it shaking? Let me know. It might be shaking. Who knows? Maybe I'm not breathing correctly. What's with the 200,000 production target? Interesting question. On the podcast, Elon Musk said that they're aiming to produce somewhere around 200,000 units per year, maybe a little bit more, was a commentary that he put forth. In the past, he said 250,000 was the production target, and then in other types of sort of forums, if I remember correctly, back in the yearly shareholder meeting earlier this year, he said somewhere around 375, perhaps 500,000. So the number has been all over the place. I wouldn't take the numbers that he's thrown out there, even the 7,000 pound number, although that gives us a very good understanding of where it's gonna land as far as curb weight goes. The production targets, Tesla has been in sort of this trend of lowering expectations quite dramatically, and so I think that's just part of that strategy, because there is some softness in the EV market due to price and affordability and interest rates being up. So I think it's just, if I were to guess, it's just the company saying, hey, just everybody chill. Everybody chill, let's lower expectations. I'm not saying they're going to beat it, but it's clearly, it's quite obvious that's what they're trying to do. And maybe they're right. Maybe short term, they're going to reduce it to 200,000, and then long term, they'll go higher. But if you look at their backlog and you look at how much interest this truck is getting just from that podcast, I don't know. I think it's going to be much higher than that long term, but I could be wrong. We'll see. All right, here we go. If you had to guess, if you held the 20th Cybertruck reservation, would you guess March 2023? I'm not really sure. You mean March 2024, maybe? Maybe you're trying to guess when the 20th Cybertruck is going to be sold. I think it will be later than that. They have cautioned quite heavily that the ramp's going to be slow because it's a lot of new sort of technology. So I think the 20th Cybertruck will probably be sometime towards the latter half of next year. I'm expecting... I initially expected about 60,000 Cybertrucks sold in 2024. I might have to lower that again based on the guidance from the company. But I would expect just Cybertruck to be really slow. So just, I would say curb your expectations. Don't think that this thing's going to deliver super, super quick because of some of the challenges they have to go through in producing the truck. Again, on the podcast, Elon was super on his usual train of, prototypes are easy, production is hard. He keeps harping on that. So those are more and more signals that say, hey, it's going to go slow. It's going to go slow. But if we get surprised to the upside, great. All right, let's do a couple more here. From Roger, who's waiting to see what BP charges on the Tesla units. If more expensive customers will figure that out quickly. Yeah, so this is related to BP, formerly British Petroleum or British Power. They did $100 million deal with Tesla to purchase the superchargers from the company and basically add them to BP locations so that anywhere you basically fill up for gas, you can also get your electricity for your EV. Based on some of the preliminary data I'm seeing for BP, they do usually charge more with their existing EV units. But the thing here is, which you've highlighted, I think as more and more EVs get adopted, people will know that BP usually will charge more for electricity than other locations. It's sort of no different than the existing gas station, the way it works. Some gas stations give you cheaper gas than other ones. God knows why. I've always wondered, why is that one 30 cents more expensive than the other one? But it might be similar with electricity. But if that's the case, to your point, people will just flock to the ones that are cheaper. But I do think early on, charging stations, I think, will win more often if they're convenient and they're reliable. I think if they're convenient and reliable, they're going to get outside share, and maybe you can get away with charging a premium. But if you just charge a premium just for the sake of charging a premium, I agree with you. I think not as many people are going to be as excited to use that charging station. So we'll see. Hey, Farzi, what's cooking? Nothing. I already ate. I'm chilling, man. Thank you for the question. All right. Very good. I think we'll end it there. I like the questions. Thank you so much for joining us live. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow with more stuff to cover. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great day, and I hope you continue to have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take